Yo, peep game. I gotta get some shit off my chest about some of these quote unquote basketball analysts when they're talking on these sports debate shows on ESPN and Fox Sports and whatever other channels and podcasts and radio shows, whatever, But there's two I want to specifically talk about: the Skip Baylesses and the Nick Wrights, especially when it comes to the pantheon of great players in NBA history, man. And because some of the stuff that these two guys say irks the hell out of me, and how they just basically disregard any type of objectivity. Yes, there are times like Skip Bayless, and everybody knows about Skip Bayless. He comes off like a LeBron hater. But he does say he's the most gifted, one of the most gifted passers he's ever seen. And he says he feels like he's a natural point guard. He's just in a 6'9" body. So I'll give you that when you say when you give credit where credit's due. When you say, okay, I feel like this player, excuse me, like I'm not a fan of this player, but this player does this great, or that player does that great, and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? But guys like the Skip Bayless just say 6-0, six Finals MVPs, and Jordan did it in this less amount of time. Which, okay, yes, that's part of the conversation. That's part of the GOAT conversation, and I'm fine with that. But to just go with just that, there's more to it. You got to look at the tape. You got to look at how good they were compared to their competition. You got to look at how much they dominated and the ways they dominated and things of that nature, how they changed the league, And I think people put Jordan in a GOAT conversation, especially guys around my age or a bit older than me, because when Jordan came in, the formula for winning a championship was a great point guard and a great center. Jordan's shooting guard, wing player. He won 6 championships and never had a dominant center on any of those teams. So I think that's why some people put him in the GOAT conversation. People say Kareem because Kareem dominated in New York City high school basketball. He dominated in college. He is bar none the greatest college basketball player ever. That's not going to be an argument. Anybody wants to argue that, just stop talking about basketball. But in him being the all-time leading scorer and things of that nature, the defensive teams he made, the 19 All-Star appearances, yes, I feel like you can make cases. You gotta bring it together. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not going to really do that, but I'm just talking about some of the biases these guys have when they love another player. Like the Skip Bayless of the world, I think Michael Jordan is God in basketball shoes and thinks he was a flawless player and things of that nature. I mean, Jordan is my all-time favorite player. And I'll say, Jordan was the best three-point shooter. He was not a good three-point shooter. My feelings is not hurt. That easy. You know what I'm saying? I could say LeBron was a more talented player, purely naturally gifted player than Michael. Not hard for me. It's whatever. I'm comfortable in my skin. Whatever. I personally think Jordan is the greatest player to ever do it. Dude had 2 3-peats. Nothing's been done on that type of level besides the Bill Russell Celtics. I think they won 7 or 8 straight championships. That's ridiculous. I know the league was smaller. There was 8 to 10 teams. I get it, but that's still ridiculous. But the thing is those guys that think Michael is God and just say, oh, the titles, you're 6-0, 2 3-pieces and that. It's no, there's more to the conversation. Jalen Rose, he had a criteria for the GOAT conversation. The problem I have with his thing is, even though I think it's a bit better than what other people use, he's using it balances numbers and accomplishments, most of his accomplishments, and it gears towards what's the goal of basketball. The object of basketball is to put the ball in the hoop and to stop your opponent from putting it in the hoop. That's the object. And his criteria kind of matches that basic philosophy of basketball or the object of the game, if you will. So I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that, but all right, we ignoring some other things. There's guys that dominate, like the Magic Johnsons. I don't think he ever had a scoring title. I mean, he was a assist leader, but multiple times, but he wasn't like a dominant scorer. But he dominated the game with his passing and being such a great floor general and things of that nature. So I think there are things, that the tape show, that numbers show with the tape and with the accomplishments. You got to bring it all together, But that's what bugs me about Skip. He ignores that. He just looks at just the championships and the quote unquote clutch gene and things of that nature. Yes, I think Michael is more clutch than LeBron, because you could tell, like, I think players going against Jordan and those crucial seconds feared Jordan more than players feared LeBron. Other than 2013 LeBron, like that LeBron was on some other shit. That nigga was on some other shit. That was just incredible. But I'm saying, I think Skip going by that, that's more from tape. I know the numbers kind of show LeBron is much better in the clutch, percentage wise, but it's close. I think LeBron's 46 to 47%, and Michael is 46 to 47%, things of that nature. I don't really know those numbers, so please forgive me. But the other guys that get on my nerves, especially the guys that are like Nick Wright, that think LeBron is God and be basically trying to knock down Jordan's legacy so much, saying shit like he said the other day, oh, Jordan didn't do anything without Scottie Pippen. I mean, let's be real. If you want to compare teammates, Scottie Pippen was a great player. Top 50. LeBron James played with Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving, and he's playing with Anthony Davis. Now, Kyrie, okay, you could say Kyrie versus Scottie. Okay. But are we going to say that Scottie's better than Dwayne Wade and Anthony Davis? Are we really going to say that? And there's no disrespect to Scottie Pippen because he is a Hall of Famer for a reason. But come on. So we can do the comparing teammates or running mates thing. And during this particular conversation, they're talking about great duos. And the other thing that irritates me, these guys have more sources than someone like me. I'm just an Instagram nigga. I'm a YouTube nigga that talks about sports and other shit or whatever. I blab. You know what I'm saying? I'm not the smartest motherfucker in the world. I'm not a encyclopedia of basketball. Let's keep it real. I don't fuck computer in front of me. But there's some things that these guys say, like Nick Wright said, the record for a duo making the first team All NBA is 2 seasons, and he said Kareem and Magic did it twice, and that's the record. Now, did Kareem and Magic do that twice? Yes, that's true, but that's not the record. The record is Shaq and Kobe. They did it 3 times because he's trying to boost up LeBron and AD so much that he was like, well, if they do it again and they'll do it this year again, that they tie the record. No, they don't. They don't tie the record. And I seen people in those particular YouTube comments. One person was like, hey, Shaq and Kobe did it 3 times. So I was like, hold on, wait a minute. I looked it up. Went on NBA.com. Scroll down. Dude, you're part of a major sports network. I know you got people that work for you, that work under you, that do this research. I'm just some random motherfucker from Virginia. Random motherfucker. I looked the shit up. I saw, Shaq and Kobe was on the first team All-NBA when they were on the same team 3 times together. That easy. NBA.com. Bro, come on, man. You don't need to. And that's the crutch, and that's my problem with these analysts riding these guys nuts. There are players that I am big fans of, that I love, but I'm not gonna say Giannis is the best player in the world. Anybody's like, hey man, you think Giannis is the best? No, I think I can say, I think LeBron's the best, and say Giannis is my favorite player, or I could say Russell Westbrook is my favorite player, and also with saying that, I can point out and be like, oh, they don't do that well. They need to do this better. Like I say this about Giannis. Giannis needs to develop a mid-range game. Not that hard. Not that hard for me to do. Not gonna ride another dude's dick. I'm sorry. There's not enough money in the world for me to do that. I mean, I guess Nick Wright and Skip Bayless getting paid by LeBron and Mike respectively, because they be riding a jock way too fucking much, and that's my problem. Yes, I understand we all have our biases, man, and I get that, but we gotta add some objectivity into it. You gotta look at the entire picture, especially when you do the GOAT conversation. And the other thing that bugs me about the GOAT conversation, and I'm a little too young to see Kareem's career. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar needs to be in the GOAT conversation. We gonna have this. You gotta throw Magic in that conversation. Hell, you can throw in Kobe and Duncan, and Bird. Let's be real. When you look at, I would say, the top 10 players of all time, it's relatively close. Especially the top 5. It's really close. There's differences here and there, and differences in accomplishments and championships and how they won, if they got three-peats or multiple MVPs, or I think like Larry Bird's like the last player to three-peat as an MVP, and that hasn't been done since. So just cut the shit, man. Just be as objective you can be, man. I understand we have our biases, but damn, you ain't gotta ride these dudes' dick like that, man. That's all I'm saying, man. Deuces.